and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me for another Just Two Idiots Cup Series broadcast. Tonight's action will be brought to you from Daytona International Speedway. It will be 80 laps of hardcore drafting. We hope y'all are ready for an exciting race. Right now, the drivers are just qualifying, and we will see who starts at the front of the pack here shortly. Let me go ahead and get the leaderboard up for everybody and our race graphics for tonight, so that way those of you joining in at home can see the action of qualifying live. So, some people to keep an eye on in tonight's race. As usual, the 10 car of Beaver will be one to keep an eye on. The 28 of G-Bay will also be another one to keep an eye on. Tonight he is rocking a red and black paint scheme, which is different than his usual yellow paint scheme. Very, very classy. Another one to keep your eye on in tonight's race is Orbit's Jupiter, who did win a race in the preseason. So, without further ado, these last few remaining drivers will get their qualifying lap in, and we will be gridding up in approximately 1 minute. Just to touch base on some important factors for tonight's race. So, as is the course for super speedways, the draft will be crucial for tonight's winner. Generally speaking, you do not want to be leading the race headed into the final corner, as that will set up second place to find a partner and drive around you. We should see plenty of positions change hands, especially as the race wears on and patience becomes thin. We just hope that we can get several green flag laps of racing in tonight's action, and we'll all be happy. And as was the case during our super late model race, the NB Racing 10 car will be Beaver, so unfortunately we did not get that fixed for this race. I will have to possibly try to see if an admin is capable of fixing that, or if it's going to be stuck like that for the whole season. But that is the typical number 10 driver, Beaver, who has qualified on the pole for this race, and will have G-Bay to his outside. just to give everybody a quick rundown of the order tonight. As I just said, on that front row is the 10 of Beaver and the 28 of G-Bay. In the second row is Beaver's teammate, starting right behind him, Nicolator. And the 420 car of Kelford Uranus is going to be to his outside. In fifth will be Adam in the 8 car. In sixth, in the 36 car, will be Jazz Cabbage. In seventh, on the inside, will be the 86 of Crazy Sheep. In eighth will be the 45 of AJ. In ninth will be the 181 of Tank. And in 10th, in the 62, or in the 92, will be Jordan Beck. In the 11th place car, in the 88 will be Dale. In the 12th place, in the 888 car, will be Cannon Racer. In the 13th and 14th spot will be Jaden Vernier and Chan Man. In the 16th or 15th and 16th spot will be Mike Costello and Bot 14, who, for those of you that don't know, is the road course announcer for J2. In the 17th and 18th spot will be McMurk and Bob Nova. In the 19th and 20th spot will be Orbits Jupiter and Nathan Pawada. In the 21st and 22nd spot will be Malgasm and R. Tups. In the 23rd and 24th position will be Brewmeister and Mark Miguel. In the 25th and 26th spot will be Mawizard and Bear TN.
Green.
The pace car is in. The green flag drops, and it does not appear that inside row go rooped up. Now the 420 car of Kelford Uranus has dropped to the inside line to take that third place position. Let's see. Out the camera here, as we have lots of double file racing all throughout this pack. That's a great view of it. We are 2 and 3 wide in the corner in some cases. Back up here at the front, Beaver is still leading with Kelford Uranus in tow and his teammate Nicolator in the 3rd spot. G-Bay has fallen back using that outside line, has been unable to get the car tucked down low. As you see, he is still struggling to get that car down low, as the 45 of AJ is going to go around him. These guys are definitely anxious. So far, so good. Nobody has stepped on the brake at all to avoid a wreck, so no wrecks happening as of this point in the race, which is a good sign for some solid green flag racing. Let me just go ahead and switch the camera view here. Not too sure why, but struggling with the camera views tonight. Not too sure why we don't have have the TTV2 and the TV3 available, but get a great action shot here for you. As you can see, they are single file down all the way to about 8th. And then we have some solid pack racing right here, as G-Bay is just trying to find a way to get to that inside line still. They're still sticking him up high. The 181 of Blasting Tank gives him a nice little shove there to keep this outside line from stalling out, but the 888 of Cannon Racer is going to now move behind G-Bay, who is now able to finally tuck it down low and fall in line, as a vast majority are single file now. Alright, now that we've got the camera settings semi-fixed, get a little wider picture here as the 92 gets a little loose off the corner there. Pretty much nose to tail all throughout the field. G-Bay is really the only one trying to form an outside line right now.
The yellow flag is out.
As the yellow flag is out, we will go ahead and see if we can figure out exactly who that was. The 36 was involved, but let's see if we can get a better camera for you guys. So you're going to see the 36 lost it for a brief second and ended up coming up the track and collecting the 28 of G-Bay. So a really rough start for G-Bay there. The 36 is Jazz Cabbage, so our hearts break for Mr. Jazz Cabbage up in the booth, as his car is still sitting there. Let's see if we can get back to live. So just a quick rundown of the top 5. Beaver is out front. Kelford Uranus is in second. In third is Nicolator in that 5 car. In fourth is Adam. In fifth is Crazy Sheep, who's having a solid top 5 run tonight. So congratulations to the current top 5 for having survived the first 8th of this race. Would any of the viewers like to ask the drivers a question when we bring them into the booth next? If you could just please put that in the chat, and whatever questions you guys can come up with, I will try to ask as we bring drivers in throughout the race and while they are down pit road under caution, things like that. Bear Trap says, ask that Nathan Palawada guy if he knows Paps. If we bring in Nathan Palawada, we will certainly ask him that. However, at this given moment, it appears as though Nathan is out of the race, so I don't expect we'll be able to get him in the booth. No particular big risers since the start of the race, but we have had a fall in the 28 of G-Bay, who started the race second and is now all the way down to 19th, so unfortunate night for him. They are headed down the backstretch here for the last time before the green flag will fly. We will have to see if the 420 car of Kelford Uranus will be able to challenge Beaver, or if that inside line will begin to rocket ship as it did off the start of the race. The pace car will pull in.
Green flag, green flag.
The green flag will fly. And it looks like that inside line is going to get a great push again. The outside line has kind of stalled out a bit, as those two teammates of the 10 of Beaver and Nicolator currently sit at the front of the pack. The 420 car of Kelford Uranus is going to try to take the first opportunity he can to drop down into that bottom lane. As he's currently kind of hanging out in that middle dead zone at the moment, but there he goes, he tucks it down low. The outside line is trying to form up and stay strong as more cars are now continuing to merge into that bottom lane. Kelford Uranus has now chosen the top side again to try and make as he tucks back down in front of the 181 of Tank. We still have several lines of two wide racing on back through the pack here. That's a great shot of them all. The outside line is starting to form up a little bit again, with that 888 of Cannon Racer being the current front car of that pack. Now the 8 is the... As things get really dicey there, but everybody manages to hold on to it. Fortunately, as the inside line is getting more and more cars added to it now. Several of them dropping down low, some of them wishing they could drop down low. Back up at the front, you still have the 10 of Beaver and the 5 of Nicolator leading this pack. Right in third is the 86 of Crazy Sheep. So we'll have to keep an eye on him as this race progresses and see if maybe he can challenge for the lead at some point. As they head on by the start-finish line again, 15 laps are in the book of this 80-lap event. On back through the pack, we do have some racing at this point. Nobody is going to take a chance at this current moment. As a car is sent up the wall, that is the 6 car of Jaden Werner that was sent up the wall, up to the wall there. So he's going to fall well off the pace now and to the very back of that line. So unfortunate exchange of events that happened there. As more cars are fighting to get down to that bottom lane. We almost just had another wreck, and with the 27 is around, and he collects the 36. That is McMurk. That was the initial start of that in the 27 car, and unfortunately, he collected the 36 of Jazz Cabbage, so Jazz involved in a second wreck for tonight. You hate to see it, as we were having some solid green flag racing there. Let's see if we can check in with race leader Beaver while under this green or this yellow flag. Beaver, Tyler, up in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, so far, not too eventful at the front for you. I am guessing your strategy will consist of a similar strategy at Talladega. Is that correct?
Yeah. I, that didn't didn't pan out for me very well last time, but I think I don't know, a little more in control this time. I've got my teammate right behind me. And so with the two of us, if we can pair up and try to keep this thing out front, I think we'll be in better shape than Talladega at least.
Now, do you think Nicolator will try to go for the win in the last lap?
Um, it's kind of funny you say that. He said he'd rather have a for sure 1-2 than to try to go for the win. But I told him that he should go for the win at the very least, try to make the move out of 4 on the last lap. Of course, if we are in this position at the end, but I don't want him to, I don't want him to think he has to stay behind me. I'd like to try to race it out with him. That'd be kind of fun.
All right, well, we wish you luck, and hopefully you guys can manage to pull off the 1-2 finish.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep, I'll get you moved back down.
All right.
So, there you have it, folks. The 10 of Beaver and the 5 of Nicolator are hoping for a 1-2 finish tonight. Would be definitely a great start for their team to kick off the season. We will have to see if when we go green flag racing, that 5 of Nicolator is somehow able to drop down to the low line and get behind his teammate in Beaver in the 10, or if Crazy Sheep in the 86 will force the issue and not let him down. So far, every time we've seen that the outside line seems to fall back on the restart and has some trouble going, so we shall certainly see as they head down the backstretch here for the final time before the green flag. They are 2x2 down the backstretch. Beaver and Nicolator will lead them to the restart zone here. The pace car is in, the green flag drops, and Beaver puts the hammer down. Nicolator will get a great start and manage to stay right behind him and will glue himself to the bumper here in a second. As they've got a pretty big lead here, this is actually kind of dangerous for them, because the further out in front they get, the bigger of a run that pack will have on them. If the 45 of AJ can manage to get up to the bumper of the 5 though, they should be alright. As you see the 28 of G-Bay in that 5th spot has bounced back from his earlier troubles in the race. Right in front of that 23 car, as everybody has mostly found their way on down to the bottom, with just these 6 or so cars still clinging to the top. Things are a little dicier at the back of the pack than they are at the front. Obviously, the longer that this race goes here, the more impatient these drivers will become, and some non-typical moves will be given. Drivers are starting to find their way to the bottom. We now only have 4 drivers at the top, 3 drivers at the top. Back up at the front. Oh, and we have a caution. Looks like the 888 of Cannon Racer and the 88 of Dale. So it looked like the 88 clipped the 888 and sent him up the track, and it caused an absolute pile-up on back through the field, as several contenders were taken out there, and there is still some slight tapping going on. So that's going to put a damper on more than one person's day. Let's see if we can get the 26. Nope, the 26 is off the track already. That's unfortunate. Let's see if we can get the 420 car of Kelford Uranus in here, as long as he too does not go off the track, which it looks like he has. Man, cars are just dropping out left and right tonight. Well, let's see if we can get good old Nicolator in here. Nicolator, Tyler up in the booth, you got me?
Oh, loud and clear.
So, we notice you are glued to Beaver's bumper. Might that change on the last lap?
There's certainly a possibility for that deviation, but right now, just trying to keep it clean. Just stay ahead and just kind of keep that going, and we'll see if anything changes towards the end there.
So, if you guys could manage to finish 1-2, would that mean more to your team than getting the win, or do you think the win would mean more to you?
I think at the moment right now, points, to be honest. Daytona is always a gamble. You never know where you're going to finish. Could be in the last, even though you entered the last lap in first. So I think points for today. That's what we're mainly going for. But, we wouldn't mind a win, that's for sure.
All right, well, we wish you luck in your battle with Beaver, and hopefully you guys can bring it home one too.
Why, thank you. We'll see you.
So that was Nicolator, who is currently residing in that 2 spot, on if he might potentially try to make a move for the lead. It's a possibility, but points are the main focus for that team today. And as of this moment, they would be having a phenomenal points day, so can't complain there. And if you guys are wondering why there was not a driver card for Nicolator, so we had a little miscommunication, and unfortunately the driver card did not get made for that 5 card this week. But we will have it ready for next week for sure. With G-Bay in that 5th spot, you know he's looking to climb to the front. As the pace car pulls in, Beaver will put the hammer down again. The 5 of Nicolator will again be able to fall in line with Beaver there, as the 86 of Crazy Sheep is strung out to that high side, as everybody that started 2nd, 4th, even 6th, they've just all been going to the middle of the pack on the restart. As more cars are now single file again, we will have to check on back through the field and see if we have any too wide racing. It doesn't appear we do have that, as the vast majority of cars are figuring out that the bottom side is key right now. Not too much action happening on through the pack. Lots of single file racing right now, as everybody is pretty well content to follow the car in front of them right now. 23 seems to be struggling to keep that car down low here, but manages to stick it right in front of that 39 car of Mike Costello. Very back of this pack, as we have a car for a brief second out of line. Looked like the 21 car of Roomeister, indeed it was. Up at the front of the pack, not much has changed. The 45 of G Bay, or the 28 of G Bay, is up to 4th off of that 5th place restart, slowly making his way up through the field. Still just mostly single file racing. There is a front pack that is forming and a back pack that has formed, so we'll have to see how much time that rear pack will lose to the front pack here. "33 laps of the 80 that are scheduled have been completed as we are approaching the halfway point of this race. Things should begin to heat up as cars begin to feel like they are running out of time. You have to think that maybe AJ in 3rd place is already beginning to ponder what his choices may be on the last lap, hoping that maybe a line will form up that he can fall in front of on the outside. Nicolator and Beaver in that 10 and 5 car respectively are going to be tough to get around, though, as the 2-car tandem has been dominant through the first half of this race. Now remember that 10-car Beaver does have preseason win, or a regular season win in the super late model class, so he's now trying to find his first win in the next gen class of the season. Nicolator also had a solid running in that super late model class. If not for a late caution in that race, he probably would have finished better. And as always, G-Bay in the 28 car currently sitting in that 4th place. Now, he did win the super speedway race in the preseason at Talladega. It was actually an incredible finish by him, as he fell back to about 7th on the last lap and got an incredible push to the front and managed to capture a win in the preseason. So he too is hoping that he can get up there and make some noise. Adam in that 8 car having a very solid top 5 night. He too would probably be happy with a top 5 finish here at Daytona, which is, as many of you know, a wild card for a lot of drivers. Right place, right time usually wins the race, and wrong place, wrong time often finds itself in the wall on the last lap. So you don't want to push too early, but you also don't want to push too late here. As that second pack of cars is now having some drivers step to the high side, mainly the 92 of Jordan Beck, but there are a few other takers that are beginning to form up that outside line, as unfortunately Jordan is gonna find that his top 10 run has put him all the way at the back of this backpack. Not quite at the back of the backpack. Back of the front pack, I should say. As that car is now severely off the pace. The 181 car of Blasting Tank still having himself a rough night in that very backpack of cars, unable to make a move as of this moment. Malgasm is knocking on a top 10 run right now, as just in front of him is Nathan Palwada in the 84 car. Looks like that 04 car is gonna find himself on the outside line trying to find a way in, as he's finally gonna fall back behind the 6. Little moves are starting to be made. I imagine that the closer into that 10-lap window we get, the more moves will be made. As a couple of cars are way down low as everybody's fanning out to come down pit road. The 6 has been turned. Coming down pit road, the 92 of Jordan Beck is involved. We have stayed green to this point. We will have to see if that will end up bringing out a caution. As there is a new leader for the first time tonight. That is the 081 car of Miguel. leading this race for the first time tonight. We will certainly have to see if green flag stops will cycle through here. Remember, some of these cars did pit at the earlier caution on lap 29. So you have to think some of these guys are really, really close to being able to make it to the end. A tough break for that 6 car of Jaden Werner getting onto pit road. It looked like the 92 of Jordan Beck may have had some light contact with him as both cars were trying to slow down to meet the pit road speed limit. So that was just to give you guys a brief look at the 6 and the 5's troubles on pit road. Again, unfortunately, the 92 did get into the back of the 6 car. Knowing Jordan, though, I can promise you it was not intentional. Luckily for the 081 car, he is out front and no caution came of that. We do have a caution now, though. We will have to see what that's for exactly, as there's lots of cars turned around. Looked like the 31 was involved. As you can see, it looked like the 23 got into the back of him just slightly, and it caused a chain reaction on back through the field. So a few cars involved in that. That was very unfortunate. I imagine the race leader is certainly happy to have seen that caution, however, as a couple of cars are currently trapped a lap down as a result of that. A good solid entry from Mark Miguel there. A few of these cars should be electing to stay out, which will make their job hard on getting to the front, but not impossible as it was when they were a lap down. As of this moment, the 39 of Mike Costello is being scored as the leader, with the 28 of G-Bay to his outside. that beautiful 39 car. Looking so good. So quick rundown of the top 5. We have the 39 of Mike Costello in first, the 28 of G-Bay to his outside. In third we have Bot 14. In fourth we have Nathan Palwata. And in fifth we have Kelford Uranus. So we do have some new faces in the top 5 for the first time tonight. Bot 14 again is the road course announcer for J2, so I'm sure he is absolutely thrilled to be running up at the front right now. As the pace car is in, the green flag will fly. That inside line did not get quite the restart that they wanted. As G-Bay is gonna tuck his car in front to have the lead coming off turn. Still several cars trapped on the outside line. The 081 of Mark Miguel has moved his car up to the 4th place position. So a great run for him. The 04 car of Bot 14 has found himself into the 3rd position off of that restart. And unfortunately for Nathan Palwata, he has found himself falling back through the field. As McMurk and the 6 get turned, we will have to see if that brings out a caution. As of this moment, no caution has been thrown. Still green flag racing. Let's focus in on this backpack where we have a few cars deep of 2 wide racing here. Unfortunate for the 36. As more cars have continued to tuck down to that low line. But a few cars are standing firm up top.
Caution, yellow flag.
As we do have another yellow flag. This time the 8. Riding on with the 8 here, who's going to get just a tick loose. Makes contact with the 92, but everybody remains firm. Then comes down, and unfortunately he was not clear of the 92 yet. So the 8 and the 92 both went for a ride right there. Truly unfortunate for the 8's day. As Beaver and his teammate are currently caught a lap down. Bear Trap says karma for the 92. Certainly does appear that way. As I was saying though, the 10 and his teammate of Nicolator in the 5 have been caught a lap down, and it appears that it's going to be a struggle for them to get back on the lead lap, especially if we cannot get any cautions here. Let's see if we can bring the 28 of G-Bay in here. Mr. G-Bay, it's Tyler up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Tyler. How are you?
Not too bad, brother. So I'll make this real brief. You find yourself at the front of the field here after some green flag pit cycles went awry. How does it feel to be at the front right now?
It's great, man. Feeling real good about this one. Mike is right behind me. We've been chatting a little bit over chat, and I think we're willing to work together a little bit. I'd be happy with P2 or P3, just some kind of podium. I think I'm having a lot of fun tonight, so looking forward to seeing how things pan out, hopefully the cleanest way possible.
If you had to pick a car that would challenge you for the lead at the end, who do you think it would be?
Right now, it's looking like Mike and Bot. They're super solid drivers, and you know, I think you're going to have at least something to commentate about tonight, at the very least at the end. So I'm looking forward to the end.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time. I'll go ahead and get you moved back down here.
Thank you, sir.
Again, that was G-Bay currently being in first here, as we will go ahead and get our TTV3 camera on up, as they will get ready to get the 1 lap to green signal here. So, who is everybody rooting for out of the viewers here? Do we have any viewer picks for who might win the race? Bear Trap says Nathan and Jaden. I know them personally. I'm rooting for them. Well, I'm definitely hoping one of them can draw a solid finish here tonight. And hopefully it'll be quite the show for you. Do we have any other viewers that are rooting for some drivers tonight? The pace car will pull in.
Green flag, green flag.
The green flag will fly as G-Bay leads them across the start-finish line again. The 39 of Mike Costello. Oh, and the 81 of Mark Miguel gets turned almost immediately there. Let's just take a quick look. getting pushed by the 98, and they lose contact for just a brief second. And bada bing, bada boom, all the way on back through the field, collects a ton of drivers. As you see, Beaver looked like he may have made it through fairly clean there. Not too sure why we do not have a camera for Mr. Beaver right now. That's just unfortunate. So we'll go ahead and have them line up one more time here and see if we can't get a solid finish for everybody here. As that 28 car of G-Bay continues to have his car out front. Your top three remains largely unchanged, as G-Bay, Mike Costello, and Bot 14 were all 1 through 3 on the last restart. The 888 of Cannon Racer finds himself in 4th place. And Bob Nova is back in the top 5 in that 31 car. So having himself a solid run here. But remember, this is a super speedway, so anything could happen. And you could find that the car currently sitting in 1st could wind up last in a hurry. We are getting word that the 10 car of Beaver is back on the lead lap here. However, his teammate Nicolator in the 5 car is also on the lead lap, but in 7th in front of him. So they're going to have some problems getting those two cars linked up again. But at least both cars are now back on the lead lap, so by the way, Bear Trap, I appreciate you following me. I did see you did that about 20 minutes ago. I was a little caught up in the race at that point. Didn't get a chance to thank you, but I did want to thank you now. And as with all the viewers, if you appreciate the action and the commentating from tonight, please hit that follow button. Every follower matters. As we get the 1 lap to green signal, they will begin to line them up again here, as things will more than likely get very dicey in these final 15 laps here. looks like we will be in for a single file restart here. As the pace car pulls in,
Green, green, green.
and G-Bay will lead them across the start-finish line and down into turns 1 and 2 once again. The final 15 laps are underway. As it looks like the 10 of Beaver is trying to find his way around the 181 of Tank right now. Desperately trying to get to another position closer to his teammates in the 45 and the 5. I had myself muted for that whole time, but what I was saying during that caution was it looked like, to me at least, that the 23 tried to pull a double move, went low, slid up a little bit, then tried to go low again, but the position, the space was already occupied by the 81 of Tank, of the 181 of Tank, I apologize. And luckily, that all happened in front of, or behind the 10 of Beaver, so he missed all of that, now finds himself up to 9th, and with his teammate of Nicolator in the 5 right in front of him, you have to think that these two are going to start formulating a game plan now that we're in the final 11 laps on how they're going to make their way to the front. Also involved in that wreck was the 081 who managed to plow his way through in that Pittsburgh car, but he did get some damage on that. That's Mark Miguel. So we'll have to keep an eye on him and see if that damage affects him too much. As back up at the front, not much has changed for those front three cars. The 28 of G-Bay, the 39 of Mike Costello, and the 04 car of Bot 14 all find themselves at the front of this pack still. In tow, in the 4th and 5th spots, is the 888 of Cannon Racer and the 31 of Bob Nova. So, lots of fast cars at the front of the field tonight. And lots of fast cars on back through the field as well. I mean, Nicolator and Beaver may choose to flex their muscles right here and see if they can drive those cars to the front, as we do get another double file restart here. So they will indeed be together on that bottom side, that light blue and white car of the 5 of Nicolator and the red and white car of Beaver. We are in for such an exciting finish tonight, folks. I'm telling you, I can't wait for these last couple laps. This is going to be an incredible finish. I can feel it. As we head down the front stretch, the pace car will pull in.
Green, green,
The
green.
green flag will fly as the 28 of G-Bay gets a good start, and the 39 of Mike Costello falls in line. We do have a car well below the double yellow line there,
The yellow flag is out.
as we have another yellow flag. We will have to see what exactly transpired. Lots of pushing as multiple cars end up in the wall and are involved. The 6, the 21, the 86, the 31, or not the 31, the 36, I apologize, all involved in that wreck right there. Meanwhile, the 10 of Beaver now finds himself in 5th place. Teammate Nicolator was involved in that. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened with him. It looks like the 420 car literally just comes down the track and hits him. Not really too sure what the 420 car of Kelford Uranus was trying to accomplish there, but that is very unfortunate for the 5 of Nicolator. Hate to see that kind of racing. And now the 10 of Beaver finds himself all alone with, well, AJ is in his team chat, so it's possible the 45 will work with Beaver, but outside of that, it's gonna be really hard to get to that top 3. So Beaver has made his way back into the top 5 with AJ right in front of him. Bob Nova did fall back to 8th on that restart. With just 7 laps to go, we are in for quite a treat here. Let's see if we can get Mr. Mike Costello in here. Hey Mike, it's Tyler up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah?
Hey brother. So we noticed that you find yourself in 2nd right now. Do you think you might try a last lap maneuver to take the lead away from G-Bay?
You know what? I haven't gotten that far yet, to be completely honest with you. I'm just trying to survive these restarts, and if we get settled down, we get settled down. I got some stuff up my sleeve. I ain't saying nothing, though.
Fair enough. That's proprietary knowledge, eh?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's on a
brother.
need-to-know basis, and you do not need to know.
Completely understand. Well, we thank you for your time. We'll let you get ready to prepare for this restart.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Again, that was Mike. Had to cut that kind of short, though, as they're headed down the backstretch right now to get ready for that restart. But proprietary knowledge on what he plans to do on the this restart here and how things play out for the last lap. So I have a feeling there's a few people at the front thinking they might have a chance to win this thing. As the pace car pulls in,
Green, green, green.
G-Bay will lead them to the line in single file, which is going to make it a little tough on Beaver to stick his nose anywhere. As things are gonna get dicey the closer to the last lap we get. Definitely keep an eye on that 10 car and look for him to either push the guy that falls out of line to the outside or be the guy that falls out of line to the outside. just 3 laps will remain here. You have to think that a move will be coming here in the next lap or two. As right now everybody is fairly content to hold their position. Just 2 more laps to go as the pressure begins to ramp up. The 88 is going to stick it to the outside of Beaver as the outside line is now forming up. We do have a car up the track and into the wall, though no caution has come out yet. As Beaver is desperately pushing that 45 right now in hopes that they can get back to the bumper of the 04 car before the 88 were to clear the 45. As things are getting even dicier here, that outside line moves up and oh my goodness, it collects almost everybody. But the 10 of Beaver is going to keep the majority of that damage from happening to his car. It's a race back to the finish line. And that unfortunately did involve G-Bay as Dale, Water Cooler Dale, is gonna be your race winner here. And Bot 14 is gonna take second. And Nathan Palwada is going to take third. Obviously, that is unofficial scoring at the moment. We will have to just confirm that. But if that is indeed your top 3, we will certainly try to get an interview with everybody. So it does appear that that is going to be the official scoring then, as Dale is going to burn down the tires in celebration. He's having so much fun right now. He is so happy to have won this race. Jordan Beck in the 92 and Bob Nova in the 31 round out your top 5. Beaver ends up 8th after narrowly avoiding catastrophe there. Still semi-catastrophic for him, but not as catastrophic as it could have been. So let's get your third place finisher, Nathan Palwada, in here. Nathan, Tyler, up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, brother. So, third place on the night, not too shabby. Managed
No.
to avoid the big one at the end there. How does that feel?
I don't know. I just kept my foot in it. I just went through. I don't know. This is my first start. It's been pretty fun. It was pretty hectic there at the end, but I just kept my foot in it, and somehow I ended up third.
Hey, that's awesome, brother. We did have a viewer, BearTrap72, that wanted me to ask you if you know somebody by the name of Paps.
Oh man, Paps, he's an interesting guy. He was watching the race. Well, he's a great guy. Yeah,
Yeah?
I know. Yeah, he might be the exact person that said that. Actually, I know that. So I was in Discord with them. They were screaming, cheering me on. I want to give a shout out to Jaden Vernier. He was doing good there. He got messed up on pit road, but he's one of my, in quotes, teammates, I guess you could say. Great guy.
Yeah, there was some contact between him and the 92. The 92 got a little hot coming down pit road and just ran into the back of him. It was pretty unfortunate for him. But congratulations on your top 3 finish, brother.
Thanks, man. I didn't expect it, but it happened. I just kept my foot in it.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a special shout out to?
My parents watching. They got me all my setup here and everything. Gonna shout out Ren Merlin, aka Jaden Vernier. He did a great race, and Paps from earlier. So that's about it.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate your time, and again, congratulations on your third.
Thanks.
All right, so let's get your second place finisher, Bot14, aka Logan. Logan, Tyler, up in the booth. You got me, brother?
Loud and clear.
So, second place on the night, not too shabby. You want to walk us through that final lap there and what was going through your head as people on either side of you were turning and things got very chaotic?
Yeah, I had hooked up with Mike throughout pretty much the whole race, working our way back from the back of the pack to the front. And the goal was to try and give him a huge push there at the end. Going down the backstretch, he wasn't able to get around Bay. He ended up getting blocked. I just kind of backed out and was like, whatever happens in front of me is going to happen. I'm going to stay low. And sure enough, Bay and Mike ended up collecting each other and ended up with that drag race to the line with Dale. I thought I had him for a moment, but coming off turn 4, he had such a good run.
Right. So was there a brief moment that you thought there was a chance you were going to get collected in all of that?
It's not something that really, I think, goes through at least my mind when something like that's happening. I'm focused on, okay, wreck's happening. Stick to the yellow line and keep the throttle in. It's the last lap. I either finish or I die. There's no in between.
Right. So, yeah, I'm very happy for you that you managed to take home second, and I do appreciate your time tonight.
I appreciate you and the broadcast. It was a fun race. I hope I'm able to make a couple more of these.
We hope so, too. You're very entertaining to watch, brother.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. And with our race winner, Mr. Water Cooler Dale, how does this win feel, Dale?
And it's the first win in a long time here. So I think it just comes down to some really good luck at the end. If you watch the replay,
You cut out for a second there.
do you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now. You were saying if
Okay.
you watch the replay.
Yeah, it was I don't even. It was less than inches on how close that was. I just saw them wreck, turned left, and I don't know, got through it somehow and made it to the front to win. So, I have to thank my teammate Cannon Racer for giving me the push there at the end, because without that, we wouldn't have been up there when they wrecked. So, we'll get him next week too. Hopefully, we have a better finish for him as well. So,
Yeah, so we were watching it there, and we were kind of going over it. You were the first car to really put yourself into that outside lane. And honestly, I think that probably played a huge part in you getting to the front ultimately. Because once you got by Beaver, it was like smooth sailing. You just picked your way through that field and avoided the near catastrophe that was happening right in front of you. So, congratulations on that win. And hopefully, we can see it in Victory Lane next week, too.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not really a short track driver, but we'll see if we get better after this week.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before you exit the broadcast booth?
Oh, I don't even have that in mind yet, but shout out to just the J2I team in general for making this league everything that's been since we started it, 4 or 5 years ago, however long it's been. So glad we had the most amount of cars ever in a oval race, the 26 cars this week. So hopefully we just keep going from there.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed with the car count this week as well. It was super entertaining. Wasn't hard to find action all over the track, but really proud that you managed to bring home the win. And like I said, hopefully next week you can do it again.
Yep, for sure.
Have a good rest of your night, brother.
All right, talk to you later.
So there you have it, folks. Your top 3. Next weekend's race for J2 will be the super late models, and that will definitely be an exciting one to watch. I believe this past week for the supers was Bristol, and next week is Richmond. So expect some short track racing there and some high intensity moments throughout that race. And I hope everybody can join us next week. This is Tyler signing off. Have a good night, everybody.